Let's bring in Dr. Rebecca Grant, Senior Fellow at the Lexington Institute. Dr. Grant, are you surprised, first of all, that the Iranians even agreed to these talks?
Yes, and congratulations to Steve Witkoff. It has been years since there were real direct talks, and the reason is pretty clear. As the White House has said, all the options are not only on the table, they're all deployed to the Middle East. Somewhere between 4 and 6 B-2 stealth bombers forward in Diego Garcia, 2 aircraft carriers. That has really gotten Iran's attention, and they know that Trump has a battle plan if he needs it. Iran either has to talk or get their nuclear facilities bombed.
Well, the president, famously said many times during his first term that there were no new wars started while he was president, 45. Would he start one with Iran?
I think that he will carry out strikes if he has to, but clearly what he's hoping for, and it's working, is to get Iran to talk. He tried really hard to do that during his first term. He and some of the G7 even offered immediate cash to Iran, but nothing would bring them to the table. And now they realize that with the situation with what Israel has done to Hamas and Hezbollah, Iran being contained and hemmed in by U.S. forces as well, that now they really need to talk, or they risk more instability in Iran itself. And that seems to have been critical in getting the Iranian foreign minister to show up in Oman and actually start these talks, which will take a while, but they've started.
General Jack Keane, our Fox News military analyst, says that Iran has to believe that the president means business here. Listen.
Look, our positions are about as far apart as they can be. The reasons why the Iranians are actually talking, because the supreme leader did not want to engage in any discussion whatsoever, is because I think they've come to the conclusion that the president is dead serious about supporting an Israeli-led, U.S.-supported strike on Iran to take down their nuclear enterprise if they don't voluntarily dismantle it.
Interesting what he said there, an Israeli-led U.S.-supported strike on Iran. So clearly, we're communicating with the Israelis about our intentions here.
Well, General Keane is absolutely right, and I think how it would unfold, so they want Iran to know this. Remember, Israel took out a lot of Iran's air defenses last year. Then you have 2 carriers, U.S. land-based fighters in the region to continue to work the air defenses and defend our forces. And then, like I said, B-2 bombers and more available that are able to use massive ordnance-penetrating weapons and get at those underground facilities. So that's the threat display. And remember, John, there's no reason for Iran to enrich their own uranium. They're within perhaps a week of enriching enough to have a bomb. They don't need it for nuclear power. They can buy it on the global market like everybody else. So it is time for them to start to make a deal. And I think maybe due to our military pressure and Trump's resolve, they're beginning to realize it. And I think the pieces are falling into place.
The former Secretary of State says the Iranians have to behave. Let's listen to Mike Pompeo.
We have to fully, verifiably eliminate their nuclear weapons program for there to be any agreement. And I see no evidence that the Iranians have any intention of doing that. And I see no intention that they are willing to stop behaving badly all across the world. All we ask is that they behave like a normal nation, and there is no indication they're prepared to do that.
So if they're not prepared to do that, Dr. Grant, it seems like explosions might be heard in Tehran or elsewhere.
Well, that's what Witkoff and others are going to have to figure out. I think there's a prospect of getting some agreement, but it's going to have to include real inspections. It's going to have to include them giving up, frankly, some of that enriched uranium. They know they're not going to want to do that. And then there'll have to be some limits on their ballistic missile development. But there's no question that the military situation in the Middle East has turned to the point where now Iran is at risk at home. Their president seems to understand that. That's why they went to negotiate. And I hope that we'll be able to really see some forward progress. But the pressure has to stay on. Iran is awfully tricky.
Yeah, it sounds like the mullahs are going to have a tough pill to swallow coming out of these negotiations. All right, Dr. Rebecca Grant, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.